What's up, gang? Kawaii50 here with another Fate Grand Order video, and with Olympus on the horizon, it is about time we talk about one of the most anticipated sabers of the year. And I mean sabers plural, because this servant's a 2-for-1 deal like Anne Bonny and Mary Read. I am, of course, talking about the Dioscuri. Now, the internet told me that's how it's pronounced, so I'm gonna stick with that, but you can also call them Castor and Pollux. I'm just gonna be calling them the twins for the duration of this video. So, no more confusion there about pronunciation. We're gonna be going over craft essences, command codes, and potential allies. Not that they really need them, because they have each other, and isn't that cute? But we're gonna go ahead and talk about all of that and see exactly how the twins can be a pretty dang good saber on your team. Yeah, we're gonna lead in with that. If this video helps you out, be sure to go ahead, like, and subscribe, because that helps me out. The Twins deck consists of 2 quick, 2 arts, and 1 buster card with a single target Arts Noble Phantasm that hits a whopping 8 times. That's really a theme the Twins share. None of their attacks have fewer than 2 hit counts, which is going to be very, very helpful when it comes to some of their skills. Their max HP at 14,824 is fairly high, as is their max attack of 11,840. Much like Altera, they've got a pretty nice set of base stats to work with. Their NP per hit is sitting at a 0.5 with 4 hits on their 2 arts cards, as well as a couple of other special abilities. NP gain is never going to be an issue for the duo. When it comes to star absorption, you get your average, well-rounded Saber star absorb. So, consider that. The Twins' first skill is Star of the King of Gods rank A, and this gives them a nifty little bonus. This applies bonuses to their quick cards and their arts cards. On their quick cards, they will increase their Noble Phantasm gauge by 5 to 10% when attacking with them. And on their arts cards, they're going to get between 5 to 10 critical stars. This is a really neat bonus and a fairly interesting mechanic in my eyes, but it's a pretty solid boost for the Twins overall. This means you're always going to be getting a solid boost of stars, and more importantly, your quick cards are going to contribute more to your overall Noble Phantasm gain, which is really, really good when you have a servant so clearly built around using their single target Noble Phantasm to obliterate powerful enemies and bosses. All of that being said, you're still going to want to go ahead and max this last. Not because the skill is bad by any means, but the base values are pretty fine as they are, just by virtue of the skill being the way it is, and you can go ahead and put this on the back burner in favor of emphasizing more damage. The Twins' second skill is Guardians of the Voyage rank B. This gives all allies a 10 to 15% NP strength boost and a 10 to 15% attack boost for 1 turn. It also gives all allies a little get out of jail free card in the form of a debuff immunity, which is super, super sweet. Definitely go ahead and max this skill second so you can get a little bit of a boost to the Noble Phantasm damage. Why are we maxing this second? Well, because of that third skill. That third skill is all about card advantage, and card advantage is mostly king. That final skill is Mana Burst Light and Ancient rank A, and unlike most Mana Bursts, this lasts for 3 turns, granting 10 to 20% quick and arts card effectiveness. The only unfortunate thing about this skill is this is where the Twins' survivability boost ends up kicking in. This skill has an evade attached to it, which is fairly unfortunate because we're mainly going to be using this to deal some sweet extra damage. Not going to have a lot of chances to use that evade, so you're going to need to rely on your supporters in order to make that happen. Definitely go ahead and max this skill first to help out their Noble Phantasm damage, overall NP gain, and get some nice little star drops as a little bit of extra icing on the cake. The Twins can actually benefit from 2 of their append skills, the first being follow-up technique improvement. Since they have so many hits on their extra card attack, this is going to be very useful for building extra NP gain and getting some extra stars. You also, of course, want mana loading, because that 10 to 20% NP starting gauge is never bad. The Twins' passives deserve special mention because there's a little bit of Avenger in there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and chuck them up on the screen really quick and not necessarily go through them individually. Pause it if you really want to take a look at these passives, but you can see just this absolute slew of bonuses Very, very helpful. There's just so much going on here. You can tell this is definitely 2 servants. The Twins Noble Phantasm is a lot of what I want in a single target Noble Phantasm. This gives them Ignore Invincibility for 1 turn that activates before damage is dealt, and all that damage is dealt completely ignores the enemy's defense, so this is hitting hard. This also has a pretty fantastic overcharge effect for the Twins, decreasing the enemy's quick and arts card resistance for 3 turns, ensuring that if the Twins are your primary damage dealer, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to follow up if that boss manages to survive. With 900 to 1500% damage on this, this is one Noble Phantasm you're going to see hit very, very hard. But as it is with most Noble Phantasms in this game, you're going to want NP2 as the sweet spot, if you can afford it. So who should we pair with the Twins to bring out their potential? Well, of course, we want our arts-focused supporters. They are going to be the true backbone of making the Twins powerful. So Caster Artoria or Tamamo no Mai are going to be your absolute main desires. And with that 5-star ticket coming up in the future, maybe it's about time to invest in a Tamamo if you don't have her yet, like I'm going to do. But that doesn't mean that only 5-star characters are what you need to maximize the Twins. Here's a couple of other suggestions that are probably going to be able to help them out. The first of those being Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, a 1-star servant that can be a very helpful supporter. He can give the Twins arts card effectiveness, he can decrease the enemy's arts resistance so they can do extra damage, and he can grant them a very large burst of critical stars to make sure you're able to crit when you really, really need to. Hohenheim, as always, deserves special mention. The Twins have crazy NP gain potential. Why don't you go ahead and just slap Philosopher's Stone on top of that to make looping their single target Noble Phantasm basically a guarantee. Throw on some extra arts card effectiveness as well really quick, and you've got a powerful powerhouse boosted by a very powerful stone. If I had to pick a best servant on this list to support the Twins, it would actually be a 4-star in the form of Prince of Lan Ling. Since the Twins and Lan Ling share a character type, well, whatever you're fighting is likely going to be weak to sabers, so Lan Ling's already going to have a little bit of an edge in the fight. He can also grant the Twins attack, NP gauge, buff success rate, but most importantly, that sweet arts card effectiveness boost from his 3rd skill. And that Noble Phantasm, decreasing enemy NP charge, giving everyone a damage cut, and giving a huge attack boost, the Twins are absolutely going to love that. And Lan Ling will even deal a little extra damage himself. Sherlock Holmes, as always, is an awesome sleeper pick to help out any sort of art servants, though you're going to have to wait until his Gift of Insight skill gets boosted, but that's honestly not too far away on NA, so please look forward to that. Once that skill gets boosted, he is going to be able to reduce all enemies' arts resist by 10 to 20%, helping the Twins' overall damage. His Noble Phantasm Elementary, my dear, will help as well, increasing the Twins' critical strength and giving them a longer chance to use that Ignore Invincibility in case the enemy ends up popping it on a later turn. And for our final ally, let's talk about Ganesha. Because the Twins have their evade chucked onto their 3rd skill, which is very, very unfortunate, you're going to want some sort of opportunity to draw damage off of them. Look no further than Ganesha, who has the ability to force enemies to target her, and can even give an ally invincibility on demand, at the cost of a skill seal, so just make sure you use those first. Her Thriving Business skill can grant the Twins NP gauge and attack boost, and will grant 5 crit stars per turn for all allies, so 15 stars per turn on an average star weight. You're going to see the Twins critting quite a bit. When it comes to craft essence options, look no further than the Black Grail. You are using these sabers to deal a maximum amount of damage to a single unlucky boss that unfortunately got in your way and needs to be taken care of. The Black Grail is one of the prime examples to do that, with its huge damage boost. And with the Twins having so many hits on their Noble Phantasm, odds are you're going to get that Noble Phantasm recharged so you can go ahead and do it all over again. If you do not have a Black Grail sitting in your arsenal, a nice freebie option I can recommend is Painting Summer if you happen to have that sitting in your box. This grants arts card effectiveness NP gain and allows you a little bit of starting NP gauge. Also, when it comes to the twins, I quite like their overcharge effect. I like the arts card and quick card reduction that they've got going on there that can really help pump up the damage even on those basic cards. Devilish Bodhisattva is of course the go-to on this. You get one chance to use that NP overcharge by 2 levels and give them a nice little bit of starting NP gauge. But if you also happen to think you're going into a longer fight and you're gonna need that NP overcharge to really do some numbers, consider throwing on One Who Wishes for Salvation. This gives them 3 to 4 instances of an overcharged Noble Phantasm. Throw an arts team out there and just watch them go to town. And finally, command codes. With every servant focused so much on their Noble Phantasm, I basically have to mention Da Vinci Chan, granting you a Noble Phantasm damage boost when attacking using the engraved card. Make sure you use this before you use the Noble Phantasm. The damage trade-off is going to end up being worth it. Also, if you want to go ahead and kick the twins' NP gain into high gear, chuck Magus of the Flowers on their Buster card. It's basically the only card that won't be granting them any sort of NP gain when they have their skill popped, so why don't you go ahead and eliminate any potential for an unlucky draw. That should be super helpful. Also, while the twins have debuff immunity, that isn't going to last forever, and you might need an opportunity to cleanse some sort of debuff. White Vessel is basically the go-to for this, but Code Cure also works just as well from the Friend Point Gacha. And finally, you might be looking for a way to draw some critical stars to a single arts card. Well, the twins have a decent star weight, so any sort of Star Gather command code you chuck on them is actually going to be helpful. Immature Illusionary Command Seal is the go-to for arts cards, but basically anything on those arts cards is going to help them out. Overall, gang, the twins are a very solid single target arch saber that can find a home on your team as an excellent boss slayer. They are great. Do not let that dissuade you from getting them. However, there are, of course, some caveats. There are already 2 incredibly powerful single-target arch sabers that exist in the game. Those, of course, being Saber Lancelot and Yagyu Munenori. So if you end up having those characters, the twins might end up seeming a little less enticing. You've already got someone that basically does what they are trying to do. However, even if you just like the twins, or if you are lacking that single target arch saber, you really couldn't go wrong with them. It's honestly a pretty good thing that the twins are permanent. They're going to be helping out a lot of new players, and with Special Ascension, they'll potentially be carrying them through a lot of the early portions of the game. But of course, I want to know what you all think, so let me know your thoughts about the twins down in the comments section below. Let me know if you think there are any allies, craft essences, or command codes that I might have missed, because of course there's a lot of stuff going on in this game, and it can be kind of hard to keep track of sometimes. Maybe you're looking for somebody to talk to who can help you out in the game. Well, you can go ahead and check out my Discord server for that. A lot of people have been very helpful, and I appreciate my community for doing that. I also want to give a big thanks to the patrons on Patreon, subscribers and followers on Twitch, and of course all of you on YouTube for giving me the motivation to do these videos every single time I sit down in front of my computer. I appreciate it, and I hope you do too. Anyways, gang, this is Kawaii50, hoping you all have a phenomenal day. I'll see you all in the next video.